sound completely unfair, but we're going to do it anyway. And what we're going to do is this. We're going to look at solving basic two-step equations. And the reason why I'm going to do something completely unfair is because you should really know how to do this by now. But if you don't, that's fine too. And the reason why you probably don't know how to do this by now is you probably haven't given a whole lot of thought. And that's nothing against you, of course. It's more to do with the way that a lot of times we present information. So here's what I want you to think about. If you had two equal mystery amounts, all right? So somebody gave you two bags of money, and they had equal amounts in them, and then you already had $50. The total amount that you now have is $90, all right? So let's take a look at this. If I have a bag of money, and then I have another bag of money, and I know inside the bags of money are this what are the same amount. Yikes. Oh my goodness me. So I have two bags of money that have the equal amounts of money in it. And I also have another $50. I know that altogether I have $90. How much is in each bag? Remember, they're equal amounts. Well, I'm sure if you actually thought about this for a while, you could probably come up with a solution. And even if you didn't really know how to solve it, you could always just pick random numbers and guess. Let's say you thought that maybe each bag had $10. Well, $10 and $10 is $20. 20 plus 50 is 70. So that's $20 is too small. Well, $10 is too small. Let's try $15. 15 plus 15 is 30. 30 plus 50 is 80. 80 is close to 90, but it's not 90. So we're going to get rid of that. Let's try $20. $20 plus $20 is $40. $40 plus $50 is in fact 90, so each bag is worth $20. Now, let's see how we could take another look at this. Over here, I'm going to assume that my blue circles are actually worth $10 each. So here's my unknowns, my unknown quantities. And I'm going to say that each blue circle is worth $10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and I have 90 on the side. Well, if I want to find out how much one bag of money is worth, I need to get rid of these circles here. So if I got rid of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. If I got rid of $50 on this side, that's fine. But I also have to get rid of $50 on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now when I get rid of $50 on this side, let's see. I now have my two bags of money, 1x, 2x, and that's now equal to, what do I have left? $40. So my two unknowns are equal to $40, which means each unknown is equal to $20. Now, let's see if I can do this another way. Let's say I have a bar model. So once again, here's my total. And here's what I have. And I have two unknowns plus 50 equals 90. Well, once again, if I get rid of this 50, let's just lop it off. If I get rid of this 50, that means I have to get rid of 50 from here. Well, if I get rid of 50 from here, I don't get rid of that 90 in total. I only got rid of 50, which means I have 40 left. Well, remember, notice I have two unknowns. I want to know the value of each one. So if I take this 40 and I cut it in half, remember this is 40, and I cut it in half, that means I have 20 and 20. So each x is worth 20. Now here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to move into the procedural part, which I have to say I'm really not all that enamored with, but that's fine. 2x plus 50 equals 90. So what are we doing? In each one of these, the very first thing I did, well, except for the very first one, the very first thing I did was I got rid of my 50. And how did I get rid of my 50? I added the opposite. So I had a positive 50, so I'm going to add the opposite of positive 50. I add negative 50. And you'll notice every time after I get rid of that, I'm still left with my two unknowns. So I haven't touched my unknowns yet, so I have 2 unknowns still. 50 minus 50 is 0. 90 minus 50 is 40. Alright, well, now I have my 2 unknowns equal to 40. I want to find the value of 1 unknown, so I divide both sides by 2, because 2x divided by 2 is just x. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So I'm going to do another one. What if I had 2/3 x minus 30 equals, let's say, 50. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the opposite of my constant. So this remains untouched. Negative 30 and positive 30 is 0. 50 plus 30 is 80. Then I'm going to divide by my coefficient. Now, if you haven't watched my last video, you really should, because I'm going to show you that you're not actually going to divide by the coefficient. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. And if you haven't watched my last video, please do, because this makes a lot more sense. And, well, just because it does. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6, so I get 6 over 6, which is just 1, x. Here, I know that 2 goes into 80 40 times, and then 40 times 3 is 120. And that's it. That's how to solve a 2-step equation. So I'm going to rewrite the steps. Step 1, add opposite. Step 2, divide by the coefficient. I'm going to put a little asterisk here. If the coefficient is a fraction, you may choose to multiply by the reciprocal. And the reason why that's useful is because if you don't have a calculator on hand, you're kind of stuffed. Before I go, I will show you one quick thing. If you go to Google and you type in Desmos, click on Desmos Beautiful and Free Math. You can go to a scientific calculator down here, click on this. And if you want to do, I forget what the numbers were. What were the numbers? 80, and you're going to divide it by 2/3. I will show you how to do that. So you would type in 80 divided by, and then you'd have to use this fraction bar, 2 plus, no, you just click right on it, 2/3, and you get 120, which is what we got. And if you did, how do I clear it? If you did 80 times 3/2, you also get 120. And that's it. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope this is useful.